Welcome to Movie Meals, where we try out your favorite meals from your favorite movies. I am your host, Liam, and today we are going to be trying the sloppy steak from I Think You Should Leave on Netflix. I Think You Should Leave was written by Tim Robinson, using mostly rejected skits that he had from working on SNL. Basically, different characters in different skits act as insane people and pretend like they're not acting like insane people. The show ends up being pretty funny because the characters do not actually acknowledge the fact that what they're doing or saying is absolutely insane. This Netflix original show first appeared in 2019, and season 2 has just come out recently in 2021. The dish we're having today is called sloppy steaks, and I know what you're thinking, that sounds terrible. Yeah, it does. The sloppy steak first made its appearance in season 2, episode 2, where Tim's character thinks he's a piece of shit. Let me clarify, he thinks he was a piece of shit. And for whatever reason at a restaurant, he orders a sloppy steak. And all this is a steak covered in a glass of water. Time to pull back our hair, not slick back, but pull back our hair and give this sloppy steak a try. And we just poured our water on our sloppy steak. Well, we poured the water to make a sloppy steak, we cut it up, and now we're going to get into it and try it. Cheers. The idea of just pouring straight water on a steak to me sounds like pretty disgusting, but I will say it is a little less bad than I thought it would be. Like, I thought this was going to be like sub 5 level. And it's not like much higher than that, but it's definitely a little bit better than I thought it was. The water kind of, doesn't do as much against the steak as I kind of thought initially. But the taste of just straight water in your mouth while you're eating steak doesn't really go well. I mean, water is obviously flavorless, but it does have like a taste almost. And being that the steak is in a puddle and that it's like dripping wet in my mouth, I don't like that. It's not like good at all. If you look at the water, I can't do a close up, but the water's just gross and it's very unappealing.
I think it depends on where you get your steak, because this was probably a little bit of a dry steak, my guess. I don't know about you. We didn't take a bite pre-sloppy steak. So, here's what I'll say. If you're at a bad restaurant and they just char your steak, ruin it. I'm going to tell you what. It's not the worst idea to make it a little bit sloppy.
Let's clarify. Let's clarify here. There's one bit. Don't let there be a puddle sitting in your steak. Maybe pour like a couple drops or something on it to really moisten it, but do not let it sit in a puddle of its own filth, because this really just makes me not I'm not going to take another bite because it's just sitting in filth water, and I'm not going to do that. Like, I don't want that. It's gross. Ben's going to finish the whole damn thing.
I'm probably going to finish this. This doesn't taste that bad. It just tastes like the steak is a little bit wet.
It's just a wet steak, but just the fact that...
It's a sloppy steak.
It's a sloppy
steak.
But
I like a sloppy steak, I guess. I'm happy discovering that this is not that bad.
It's really not the worst thing in the world. It's not the worst thing I've eaten. That's not even close. But it's not good. It doesn't make the steak better. It doesn't do anything for the steak. It just tastes like wet steak. And it's not that good.
Let's say this. If you did get a really nice steak, and you got it like medium or a little bit rare, and they did a really good job on it, this would ruin the steak for sure. It would destroy it.
So basically what you're saying is if it was any sort of decent steak.
But based on the I Think You Should Leave skit, it's kind of, it's not entirely clear if this is a good or bad steak pre-slop.
You're a piece of shit if you eat this.
You are a piece of shit if you eat a sloppy steak, apparently, but the place that was serving sloppy steaks, not on purpose, but they were serving them, burnt to the ground. And is that because they were kind of one of those businesses that were like a little shady and they weren't really about the food? They were just kind of like a little place making a little bit of money?
Based on the show, you're a piece of shit if you eat this. So, I mean... I would go as far as to say you're a piece of shit.
You are too, buddy.
I mean, I don't like it though. You said you like it.
Nothing in the show implied that liking a sloppy steak makes you a piece of shit. He just said eating sloppy steaks makes you a real piece of shit.
He said he used to eat sloppy steaks when he was a piece of shit.
Yeah,
now he doesn't eat sloppy steaks when he is not a piece of shit.
But you just ate some sloppy steak.
Yeah, but this is to try it out. I wouldn't eat this for my own enjoyment. You look like you would.
I might. Maybe I am a piece of shit. Maybe I am.
Maybe you are. So, to give it a grade, I think I'm going to go with a 5.5.
Wow. Here's what's funny. All my high praise and all his criticism, I would have given this a 5. Right down the middle of 5. And somehow, you're giving it... I'm not saying this, I promise. I'm not saying this to try and make it seem like you're more of a piece of shit than me. I'm not trying to do that. But it does sound like...
It's coming across as if I'm a big piece of shit too. But here's the thing. I'm giving it a 5.5 because it's just wet steak. I'm not giving it a devastatingly low score because it's totally something that is insane and like no one would ever eat. I get obviously no one is ever going to dump an entire glass of water on a steak, but as you said, if you're in a restaurant or your steak is maybe a little dry, you dump a couple drops or a tiny bit of water on it, give it a little moisture. That's doable. So in that sense, I think it's like it has to be a respectable score, but it's not good. I would never give this like upwards of a 6.5. It's a 5.5 for me. It's not great.
All right, here's all I have to say left.
It's a bottom of the barrel 5.5.
Okay. This is all I can say besides what I've said. There's not too much to it. Of course, we know. It's just a wet steak. But, here's the thing. A 10 is a dish that's just amplified to the max. It's amazing. A 0 is you can't even get it in your mouth. It's so bad. It's so disgusting. 5 to me is any dish that is just nothing. It's just whatever. It's almost...
So you're saying a 5 is a neutral dish?
It's the most neutral thing you can have. And to me, this was as neutral as it gets. There's no flavor, but there's no flavor in a bad way either. You don't go, oh, God. But you also don't go, oh, you know what? That's really good. It's right down the middle for me. It's an exact 5. It is just... I could almost use that as... If everybody had, for some reason, tried wet steak in their lives, I would use it as an example for things all the time. I'd be like, it's like a sloppy steak. It's just nothing.
I think the only reason I'm giving it a 5.5 is because it's steak. So, steak is good, but when you put water on it, like steak normally,
I would say better than a sloppy chicken.
I would say like a steak normally, like just a flat, normal, unmarinated, plain steak is probably like a 6.5.
Right. Yeah.
But then you make it wet, and then it's a 5.5.
Right, because you could have interesting. You could have a sloppy chicken, a sloppy, a sloppy pasta. But the fact that it's a steak puts it above because a steak's a better than average thing.
Yeah,
right.
Steak is.
It's a good point. I didn't really think about that. All right.
So 5.5, 5. That's a review. I Think You Should Leave is currently streaming on Netflix and Corncob TV. As always, if there's any movie meals or drinks that you'd like us to try, please throw your ideas in the comment section below and we will throw them in our mouths. And please let us know in the comments if you think you're a piece of shit, or maybe you were a piece of shit and you want to just say, I was a piece of shit because I really, I didn't go to my niece's softball game. When I shit on the floor of the porta potty in my niece's softball game. Thank you guys for watching so much. Adios, personas. Have a good day.